for the winner and overall champion against the Bermuda Trophy and the Scotland number 51, Devon B. Come on, let's give it up for everybody.
And as promised, joining me on set is none other than Mr. Bermuda, Mr. Devon Bean. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Basin. Good afternoon, Bermuda.
Well, for you, I know it was an emotional night, accumulating a lot of hard work put in by yourself and others around you. But going into the Night of Champions, how did you prepare yourself for that particular event? Because it's not your first time on stage.
No, it's actually my third time.
Right.
The first time I competed was in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
The next time I competed was in 2011.
You're like your old years.
Odd years. And then I took off some time to work on some leg and body parts that obviously I know I have, the judges know I have, and my competitors know I have. So I took the time out to try to bring those up and bring the best package I had August 15, 2015.
Right. Who worked on your routine?
Interesting enough, I had a support cast, but the main person who helped me with my routine, I don't know if I should say her name because she likes to be under wire, but I had a lot of influence with the routine as well.
Right.
And that was all part of the game plan, because with any sport or any project that you're into, you have to have a game plan.
Right.
And I decided to set myself apart from my other competitors.
Right.
And the people paid a lot of money to come out and watch bodybuilding, which is not a big sport worldwide, let alone in Bermuda.
Right.
So what we try to do is give the audience
Some entertainment
and make it worth the while for spending their big bucks.
Now, did you feel after your performance, you felt you had the crowd in your hands?
Yes.
Looking at the judges, because you can look down at them, what was the sense of that you had captured them as well?
Not really, because as judges they have to be, partial or non-biased, and they had their game faces on.
Right.
And ultimately, when you compete in a subjective sport like bodybuilding, it's in the judge's hands, and you could bring all that you could bring, or you could feel that you've won, but ultimately it comes down to those 5, I think, or 7 judges. 7 judges, and hopefully they like the package that you brought that night.
Right. Now you're standing there. They just called Javon, left you and Jeffter.
Yes, left me and Jeffter Miller. Yes.
When Jeffter's name was called, just prior to it, what was running through your mind?
It took me back to 2011 actually, because as competitors, we feel that when you prepare for something like that, and I bought a good package as well in 2011, and standing back there brought back memories, because in 2011 personally I thought I won as well.
Right.
But Garvin Phillips, big host,
right,
beat me out that year. But strangely enough, the same type of thoughts were running through my head.
Right.
But deep down, I thought this year, I left no stone unturned. I didn't cheat on my diet.
Right.
We tried, my trainer Dwayne Otterbridge and I tried a few different things this year with my prep. making my meals smaller but eating more. So I was eating more like 6 to 8 meals a day, smaller meals as opposed to 5 or 6 larger meals.
Right.
But during that moment that I was standing there with Jafta actually put out his hand to touch me, like to say, "Yo, you won."
Right.
But I wasn't good off of there, off of that.
You think it was a bit of gamesmanship on his behalf?
Right. On his behalf, Jeffrey and I have a good relationship.
Right.
But until I heard that name,
Second
Devon
place.
Bean,
Yeah.
Mr. Bermuda,
Right.
or at least when I had that trophy in my
Right.
hand.
Right.
Because as announcers, you could make mistakes saying
Oh,
the name
well,
as
well,
right?
actually, 2011, there was a mistake
Yes,
made.
yes,
They
exactly.
announced a female as the second place, and even everyone in the crowd was like, "What?
Wow, yes.
What happened? How did that happen?" And then they had to sort that out, but
Yes.
they sorted it out right there and then. But you're right. You never know.
never know.
A mistake could be made, and you don't want to be celebrating and then
Prematurely,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But getting your hands on that trophy. Now, you balance a lot of stuff. You have quite a few athletes under your wing with Dash
Yes,
Running
sir.
Club, and you're preparing yourself for a major championship in a sport that you love, obviously.
Yes.
How are you balancing all of that? Because you're dealing with youngsters' emotions, training. You're at the stadium, then you've got to go training to make sure you're in the best possible shape, mind, body, and focus for the 15th.
Well, I put it like this. I feed off of them,
Right.
and they feed off of me. When they see Coach being disciplined when it comes to eating and getting his rest and putting things in perspective, time management,
Right.
it kind of rolls off.
Right.
So I use them when I see them training or while I'm coaching them for motivation, and I see the hard work that they put in, and it's reciprocal. They look at Mr. Bean because it was we traveled to North Carolina this year, and it was during my contest prep.
Right.
So obviously they were eating some good food,
Right.
and Mr. Bean had to pick off the menu in the hotel, which had a pretty good menu for lean body menu.
Right.
But other than that, I had to go to like a Whole Foods and get my whole chicken and
Right.
sweet potatoes and stuff. And when they saw that at the track, they was like, "Bean, this is serious." I
Right.
said, "Well, when I'm in, meaning mentally, when I'm in preparing for a show, that's all that matters." And bodybuilding is similar to track because it's an individual sport. The gains are very minute at times because it seems like so far away than what I've been trying to work on. But like I said, my trainer and I, Dwayne Outerbridge, we sat down at the beginning of the year and we went over everything, as meal prep, mental, and I have to give Dwayne Outerbridge, I'm getting emotional.
Right.
He took me underneath his wing 8 years ago,
Right.
and it was something missing after I stopped running or
Right.
retired from track.
Right.
Like I told people, I bought golf clubs, I bought tennis rackets, I bought a cycle.
Just didn't fit.
Right, but he saw something in me, and the way he did it was, he invited me to train with him just on Sundays because that was his leg day,
Right.
and he needed somewhat like a training partner.
Right.
I was pretty strong in my legs,
Right.
but eventually it led to another day and another day,
was hooked.
and I was hooked. And a couple people asked me to go in the show prior, so I was underneath Dwayne 3 years prior because I actually started training with Dwayne in 2006.
Okay.
But I didn't step on stage in 2009 because
Right.
he felt I wasn't ready.
Right.
And I trusted him,
Mhm.
and he was like, "Yeah, now it's time to get your feet wet." But he saw something in me that I didn't. Lifting weights was always a part of my training regime during track, but it was a completely different rep range.
Right.
For track you're lifting for speed and power.
Mhm.
Now for bodybuilding, you're lifting for size and and strength and
Right.
so forth. But I love Dwayne's approach of training, because while I'm not getting ready for a show, we always train like in the sports conditioning type of
Right.
regime. But when he knows, or when we decide we're getting ready for a show,
Mhm.
we switch to the bodybuilding programs.
Right.
More, rep range in the 15 to 20.
Mhm.
But any other time, I kind of lift like I'm running track.
Oh, okay.
So all the Olympic lifts, box jumps, we do sled pulls,
Mhm.
we do it all.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you're going to have to quickly change gears because you're back with your running club, but you're
Yes.
also getting ready to, or will you be going to the Caribbean Championship?
Actually, I'm not.
Okay.
We decided, my trainer and I, and it always goes back to the trainer. And that's one thing, not to get off the topic, but that's one thing I love about the big man that we saw running the other night in the 100 and 200.
Right.
He always reverts back to his coach,
Right.
not his manager,
Mhm.
not his agent.
Right.
The coach knows you,
Right.
you know how you're preparing for something.
Mhm.
And we sat down and was like, do you want to go to CAC? I love representing my country, but CAC was never in the plans this year.
Right. Okay.
Going forward, make a little bit more gains,
Mhm.
sizable gains that people know. Everybody talks about my arms and my chest.
Mhm.
Everybody has a leg and body part or body parts that they feel that needs to be better.
Mhm.
And going down to the Caribbean, that's another step up.
Yes. Yeah.
And back in 2009, I went there and made the night show.
Right.
And out of 20 odd guys, I placed 5th in the final.
Right.
But this time going forward, I think we need to take another year or two off,
Mhm.
bring them up even more, and then go down to the CAC and rack shop down there.
Right.
So it's all in the game plan. It's
Right.
not. A lot of people say, "Oh, why you don't compete year in and year out?" But when you do that, it's very hard to make gains, and
Right.
everybody doesn't want to see the same thing, the same package up there every
Right.
year.
Right.
So when the judges see Devon being up there every other year, oh, he's put his work in,
Right.
or so forth like that.
Right.
So it's all in the game plan.
What do you think you competing in the sport of track and field and actually going to the Olympics
Mhm.
set you up for the 15, emotionally and mentally?
It sure did. Track and field has made Devon being who he is, and like I said, both of them are individual sports.
Mhm.
There relies a lot of sacrifice and discipline by yourself. I've never had a spring break. I never really had summers
Mhm.
because I had to be always training. Whenever I went to go visit a family friend or family member, I had to find a track somewhere or a
Right.
weight room. So it's, even though track and field is sort of like a winter sport per se, you train year round. So it was very easy to prepare for the Night of Champions because I've been at that top level. I know what it takes. I've been to the highest level of achievement, which is the Olympics of any sport. Any athlete aspires to represent their country in the Olympics. So it was like autopilot for me mentally to
Mhm.
get prepared for it. Now, the hardest part of this prep was the long layoff that I had between 2011 and 2015,
Right.
getting mentally ready for the diet.
Yeah.
Because the training part, all of that's easy to me,
Mhm.
and it's easy for most competitors.
Right.
But when the diet comes along and you can't eat this and you can't eat that and you gotta be drinking 2.5 gallons of water a day. And
You're still drinking that.
I'm still drinking it. Got my water here now. Those type of things got to me because it wasn't the norm.
Right. Right.
But
So let me ask you this question: did your coach say 2015, or did you say 2015?
we both said it because, as everybody knows, I'm one of the national coaches for track and field,
Mhm.
and I'm heavily involved in my club dash with my girlfriend Mia.
Mm-hmm.
And for the past 4 years, which I haven't competed in bodybuilding, I have traveled with the track and field teams far out places.
Right. Right.
During contest prep time that's very crucial. Like I was in Oregon last year.
Right.
The year before that I was in Russia. The year before that I was in Barcelona and Poland.
Right.
So, and the eating structure there is a cafeteria structure.
Yes.
It's not like, so everybody has to eat the same thing. So I don't know what the chef is putting there and so forth. And, you know, not to knock bodybuilding, I love it, but track and field is my passion.
Right.
And that comes first.
Right.
So I look at the calendar each year and I say, okay, what's coming up? What is the BNNA is going to do? Which coaches are going to send on certain championships? And then I decide, okay, well, can I squeeze a show in?
Right.
And that's how we approach it.
Okay.
That's how we approach it.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to say congratulations to you because Tajay Taylor.
Yes, Tajay Taylor.
One of your sprinters is going to the Commonwealth Games.
Yes, Youth Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, Youth Commonwealth Games. You know, and he's burst on the scene of late. I don't know how long he's been in your stable, but I recognized him last year. And I've just seen him mature.
Yes.
Both on and off the track, because I've seen him a few times off the track, and I think it comes down to some of the guidance in which you're able to administer to him, as well as some of the other athletes. But putting in the time with someone like that who's preparing for probably the biggest event of his life thus far,
yes.
What message are you relaying to him to expect?
Just trust in himself, trust in his support cast around him, his family, his dad, his uncle, his grandmother is heavily involved in him.
Right.
And most importantly, it comes down to trust in me.
Right.
The same way I trust Dwayne, same way Usain Bolt trusts Glenn Mills.
Yeah.
He has to entrust in me. He has to believe in what we're doing is going to benefit him and make him go to that next level.
Right, right. So something of this nature, you're looking at some of the top youth sprinters
Yes.
In the Commonwealth. Obviously, everybody wants medals, but realistically, as a coach, you're taking him, and again, this will be his biggest event
Yes.
to date. Personally, what are you hoping he can accomplish?
Every coach wants medals at major championships, but as of right now, he's very young in the sport. He actually used to coach with my former coach, Mr. Swan. And when Mr. Swan kind of stepped away or stepped down, Mr. Swan called me up and said, look, I have a kid, it's wonderful, can you work with him? So Taj has only been with me for the past year. I couldn't ask for a better athlete. Easy to coach, a coach's dream.
Right.
He works hard. Unfortunately, he went through some injury problems during the middle part of the year. Wasn't able to go to Carifta, but early part of the season, he came out swinging.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and he burst on the scene.
He burst it out, but his last competition, which was in North Carolina, showed signs of where he was prior to him getting injured.
Right.
So got him back to that level. Now going to the next level, it wasn't enough time for us to kind of benefit off of that. But ultimately, you just want to go to a championship like this for his first time and run a PB or run pretty close to where your buddy's never gone before.
Right, right.
Medals is always jingling out there,
Right.
but you know, as been in this sport for a number of years, and like you said, being realistic, all we can ask for is him to go out there and give it his best and hopefully run a PB.
Right. Now, we notice, and I notice a lot of times of late, you say take your body where it's never been before.
Yes.
How do you recover if it's preliminaries and then you have to recover to run either semis or straight or finals? And it's not much time in between. I mean, you look at the recovery time that Usain and these guys had, but their bodies are used to, for him running, what, 9.99 in the 100, 1995 and 55 in the 2, his body and his mind is already geared at running at that pace on a regular basis.
Right.
And he can shut it down that night and turn it back on the next night to do it again. But young athletes have to learn how to do this. So what are some of the things that you would be, if he's able to get to a final, what are some of the things you have to quickly work on to ensure that he can recover in enough time to try to run close to that again? Because a lot of people don't understand that when you're an athlete like that and you run that particular time,
Yes.
if your body's not used to it, it reacts a lot different. You could feel like you're running fast, but you're actually not, because the body is reacting totally different. We've seen it with Trey Houston.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the first things you can do, because right now he's less than probably a week away of competing. All the hard work is done.
Right.
It's nothing physically we can do right now
Right.
that's gonna make him run any faster. Whatever shape he's in right now is what he's going with.
Right.
What you have to work on is, like Mr. Swan always tells us, between the ears.
Right.
Mentally believe, mentally look. It's gonna feel like this. It's gonna feel different. But how bad do you want it?
Right. Right.
And your question about how you recover all comes down to diet, the type of workout you've did during the year to help you prepare to run through the runs. Now that's one of the hardest things to do in a sport like track and field.
Yeah.
There's certain workouts within the 6-week period leading up to a major championship where you're tweaking certain energy systems, short speed endurance, long speed,
Right.
absolute speed, all that type of stuff.
Right.
So those are the type of things, as well as getting a massage, light massage, to flush out some of those toxins your body's built up, ice baths,
Right.
but more importantly, getting off your feet, staying hydrated. Like, it's all about dotting your I's and crossing your T's, and pray to the good Lord above.
Right. Now, just talking about that, let's get back to the Night of Champions. You come through the morning session, and then you've got, what, about a 6-hour, 7-hour time between you competing in the morning
Yes.
and then the show, what we consider the show. What are some of the things you had to work on to ensure that come that night you were still up and able to get on the stage and perform?
Just getting some food, because basically in the prejudging, that's where the majority of your points are awarded.
Right.
The first time the judges are seeing you, so you want to come out and bring your best package in the morning.
Right.
Now, a lot can happen within an hour, let alone 6 hours between prejudging and the evening show. But with your support cast, you assess your physique that you brought. You might be a little flat from not having enough carbs, or your water's depleted. And you just look at yourself in the mirror, pinch your skin, whatever you have to do. And as your coach and trainer and athlete decides, okay, well, we need to carb up some more. So leading up to that competition, I went through about 2 bags of potatoes and was still not full enough backstage for getting a pump. Because leading up to that, without getting too technical, you have to actually deplete the body, or the glycogen levels in your muscles, to fill them back up with the carbs and the water and all that stuff. And my metabolism is very fast, it's very tricky. So we have to kind of manipulate with the carbs and water. And my body was just soaking up the carbs and not filling up enough. So after the prejudging, you know, without giving away our little secrets, you know, he gave me a little cheat meal, which, you know, at that time your body's real sensitive to the sodiums and stuff coming in, and it has like a residual effect. Your body's like, whoa. So the water was still minimal, but you know, he gave me a little cheat meal with some
stuff.
Ron Robin Hood. I was gonna say that. Okay. Gave me a little treat. And came night show, I was able to get a batter pump, and still able to keep the type of condition we had in the morning. So that's all you're basically trying to do is get better or maintain whatever you had in the morning, because you could slip. You could easily slip or spill over. What as they call it in bodybuilding. Okay.
And it is tricky because you have so much time. Although in a day it's not a lot of time, but for you guys, because you've competed. Now you got to wait.
Yes. And your body's sensitive at that point to anything.
Right.
So
do you try to sleep? Do you try
yes,
to
definitely get a little nap in.
Right.
Keep your feet elevated. Just similar things I used to do in track.
Right.
So it's, it correlates with each other. Basically, I'm just sucking on some ice cubes or just wetting your mouth enough
Right.
to keep you hydrated. Because basically, when you're up on stage, at that point, your calories are cut, you're dehydrated, and you're sort of not starved,
Right.
but you got very low energy levels. And what you're trying to do is get all that water that's subcutaneous underneath your skin to
Right.
keep you tight.
Right.
And the littles of things that you could do can make it look like you haven't even dieted all year
Right.
for the show. So when I said that cheat meal, a lot of people don't like doing that
Right.
because there's a chance of you spilling over.
Right.
But you have to know your body,
Mhm.
you have to believe in it, and because you ask any competitor, the day after or 2 days after, when you had all that pizza and burgers in you,
Right.
you really look your best. But nobody wants to chance it because of the show, of the
right.
chance of spilling over.
Right.
Because the morning after I woke up after the show, I'm like, mercy, I should have looked like this last night.
Right.
And I would have been happy. I would have been really happy with the package that I brought,
Right.
even more.
Right.
So yeah.
All right. Well, half an hour has gone really, really fast.
Whoa.
We've covered a lot. Again, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Will you be going with Tajay as coach?
No, Mr. Cal Simons is going
He's going as the chef. Mhm.
Terry and Painter is going as
Oh, okay.
as a
Okay.
coach, yes.
Okay. And obviously you'll be giving her some tips or some messages to.
Yeah, we actually have a meeting this weekend.
Okay.
We have our last training session on Monday,
Okay.
Tajay and I,
Mhm.
and I will give Terry a copy and himself a copy as well as Mr. Simons
Mhm.
of what he needs to do in between now and showtime,
Right.
and just
And everybody
Close
watching
our fingers.
online as quickly as
yeah.
as it happens. But again, congratulations and good luck to your athlete and to
Yeah.
the other athletes going to.
Can
the
I just, before we go,
Yeah,
can
sure.
I just thank a few people?
Oh, you can thank anybody you want.
Forgive me if I've left or I leave anybody out,
Right.
because I have such a great support cast.
Mhm.
My mother, Sandra Bean, my father, Derek Bean, my stepmother, my brother, Travis Clark, who got me involved in bodybuilding,
Mhm.
Bertha, Monroe Darrell, Brian Wellman, the old Olympic Club crew,
Right.
my new family at Magnum,
Mhm.
my family at Dame Margie Bean Hope Academy, my family at Winreach.
Mhm.
Kudos to those ladies, because the last month leading up to the show, they kind of let me do my thing. Not necessarily neglect work, but
Mhm.
when I had to eat this, I go eat beam, and I had to take a nap,
Right.
go take a nap.
Right.
It's so many people that I owe this to. My children's mothers.
Right.
My daughter Soleil, my son Dijon, their
Mhm.
mothers have to take a deal off while I'm getting ready, because
Right.
it's selfish at a certain point.
Right.
Daddy needs his rest, or Daddy needs to go train and go back to the gym and work
Mhm.
on routine. Grandparents, godparents, whoever, when the one needs a rest or training at the track, I love you guys. I couldn't have done it without you.
Mhm.
Just everybody that has a major influence in my life, I couldn't have done it. This band is not just for me, but
Mhm.
for my whole supporting cast,
Right.
and they know who they are.
Right.
Right, young.